Time to talk favorite sides, totals, and props for the national championship, Miami and Indiana. We do it with Mike, Emory, and Tom. And Emory, I'll start with you on your favorite side. Now at BetMGM here, we've got an 8.5 point spread, a 47.5 point total. Hit us with your spread here, though.
I'm taking Miami plus the 8.5. This number was 7.5 earlier in the week, and I just still find that and this number to be mind-blowing because Miami fundamentally and philosophically and from a mentality standpoint is built a lot like Indiana. They don't quit. They will fight you from start to finish. And I love how Carson Beck has played in terms of managing the game here in the postseason. He still is missing deep balls. He still is missing some open opportunities for big plays and points. But I like that he's showing a little bit of that short memory that you need to have success when you're in the midst of a playoff run. And Miami's defensive line and offensive line, they have an advantage, in my opinion, in this game against Indiana. I know Oregon got blown out, and I know Indiana is great, but I felt like Oregon's offense did not want to be there once he got punched in the mouth and tasted their own blood. That was a wrap for them. They won't get that for Miami. Miami may get punched in the mouth, but they're like, oh, yeah, good. Now we got to fight now, and they'll go back and forth. So I just see this being a closer game. Give me the Hurricanes plus 8.5.
Mike, I liked that entire take. What I will say is when you looked at the look-ahead line before Indiana dismantled Oregon, I believe it was in that 4.5, 5.5 range, and then it grew to 6.5, and then 7.5, and then 8.5. And at a certain point, you got to push back and look at the other team. I also like what Emory said about Carson Beck. I think Carson Beck has looked way better than anybody anticipated him looking in the college football playoffs specifically. Maybe that's just me. Mike, are we on the points here or are we laying it?
Yeah, I'd take the points here with Miami at 8.5. I do think it's just a strong overreaction. You talked about the number essentially being 4.5. And while I could certainly agree with moving that number to maybe 6.5, which is still a ton of love in a neutral site national title game. But when you look at that matchup, as Emory mentioned, Indiana against Oregon, while the outcome of the game was never going to be in doubt, in my opinion, Indiana was going to find a way and take care of business. Oregon kind of gave that game away a little bit early with some of those turnovers in big positions. It's just so hard to recover from that kind of a situation. And Miami, I do think that they have the edge in this game on the offensive and defensive line. I think that they've got playmakers in Fletcher and Malachi Toney. It's going to have to be mistake-free football. Like Carson Beck definitely can't turn the ball over, but I think that he's got enough experience here. You mentioned how good he's looked at times. I think it's simply a product of just playing in a lot of college football games on a big stage. Remembering he did spend a lot of time playing in big games for the Georgia Bulldogs. I think this is too many points here at 8.5.
Yeah, we're going to hear more about Malachi Toney and Mark Fletcher in a couple of minutes. But Tom, you're not laying the points either way in terms of the game, but you're looking at an Indiana first half play.
Yeah, no, I agree with the guys. 8.5 is too high. You're not getting any value if you bet Indiana. The question is do you want to get in front of this Indiana train? Kind of reminds me a couple of years ago when UConn was in the NCAA tournament and every game their line was too high and they kept covering. Sometimes these teams just get on a roll here. I will say this. I liked Indiana's matchup better last game. I just think Dante Moore is the most overrated quarterback of my lifetime. I just don't get it. Have fun, New York Jets. But I think Carson Beck is playing well. And I think Emory is right with the lines. They match up better with Indiana. For me, the way Indiana's jumping out on teams, I'm going to take them in the first half. That's going to eliminate any backdoor cover or Miami coming back in the second half. So because they're jumping out so quickly on these teams, I think they can cover 4.5 in the first half.
All right, let's go to a game total or a team total. I mentioned, Mike, the total is 47.5. You're looking at a team total, however.
Yeah, I think my preferred way to play Miami in this game, even more so than the 8.5, is their team total 19.5. If you're optimistic on Miami having success and having a legitimate chance to maybe even win this football game outright, it certainly involves scoring 20 plus points in this game. When you look at the Indiana offense, the receiving core they have, the quarterback talent that they have, and the coaching that they have, Miami has to score 20 points to be competitive in this football game, in my opinion. So it's a very key number of 20 and 21. I get it because, where the total's at on the game, but I really believe this number should be 20.5. I just think there are many scenarios here where they frankly even get blown out. Look at what Oregon was. I'm not projecting a big lopsided affair like that. Oregon still found a way to get over that number as well. So I just think this number is too low for the talent and the circumstances. Give me the team total here over 19.5 for the Miami Hurricanes.
And Tom, you're looking at an early cash, but an even earlier cash in the first half, you're looking at a first quarter under.
Yeah, in these big games, sometimes these teams feel each other out. As big as the games were last week, it's not the national championship game. It's like the conference championships in the NFL compared to the Super Bowl. This is it. Everything's on the line here. And I think sometimes even the coaches play a little more conservative here, punting from midfield, getting field position early in the game. So I'm going to bet that the first quarter isn't more than 7-3. I think there's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process. I know Miami's going to want to slow the pace down. So I'm going to go under 10.5 points in the first quarter.
All right. Well, if we have a first quarter under, Emory Hunt, maybe we have a game total under.
We do. I like this to go under 48.5 points. I love the score of 24-20. I will always use that as the barometer. I can see that being the case here. Defensively, two excellent defenses. And at some point, defense has to matter in these games. Now, I feel like we get off to a slow start, and then we'll ramp up with a crazy fourth quarter, whatnot, with back and forth points. But I could see this one falling under that 48.5 number for sure.
Let's look at some game props and player props. Tom, I'm going to let you kick us off with a game prop.
Yeah, no, I think Emory hit it on the head. If it's a lower scoring game, I think you could see a 24-20 type of game. I like both teams to score 15 plus points here, because if it's a closer game, I think they're going to at least get to 17. And if it's a blowout, like we saw last game, I think there's enough room there for Miami to at least get to 17 points. And I like Indiana to get to at least 17. So both teams to score 15 plus at -142 is my favorite play.
I think that's completely fair. Obviously, it's pretty juicy, but I really like that play. Emory, I would imagine you like the play too, because you've got a long shot play here, and it involves some scoring.
If you pay attention to what we do on Thursday Night Football on CBS Sports HQ, when we pick Monday night and Thursday nights when we do these props for NFL games, these specialty bets I've always been able to nail. I think this one was unique, and I feel like this is good value at plus 1,000, but both teams to score points in each quarter. So that could be 2 field goals or whatever. As long as they score in each quarter, we cover and cash this bet. I think that will happen in this ball game. It also protects us versus for a low scoring quarter, a low scoring half, the under the hit. We just need points in each quarter from both teams. I think we'll get that at plus 1,000.
Imagine not watching Emory Hunt, Tom Casale, and Mike McClure all over CBS Sports HQ 24/7 for all of your sports news. Let's go to a player prop. Mike, Malachi Toney, I believe his name was mentioned a few minutes ago.
Yeah, give me Malachi Toney anytime touchdown here, plus 150. As he goes, this Miami team goes, in my opinion, particularly in a matchup like this. Look, 6 touchdowns in the last 6 games. He even got there as the lone touchdown in that slugfest against Texas A&M. If you're Miami, you have to scheme touches for Malachi Toney. He is the one player on the field. I say the one player, like Mark Fletcher, phenomenal, can absolutely break a big run. Like, I'm not going to discount that. But Malachi Toney is the one player in trailing, neutral, or positive game scripts that can absolutely really flip a game on its end and score on any given play from any point on the football field. They should give him 7 to 10 touches in this game, if not more. I like this number here, plus 150 for an anytime touchdown.
Emory, if Miami's going to win this game or be competitive, certainly Malachi Toney is going to be involved, but maybe even more so Mark Fletcher. Talk to me about your prop with him.
Man, listen, when you look at the top 4 running backs in football history, you have DeAndre Swift. You also have you have Mark Fletcher. You have Jim Brown, Walter Payton, right? I just love watching Mark Fletcher run because I think this dude just runs really well. And so if you're right, if Miami's going to win this ball game, you have to look at him being a big reason why. So look for him to go. And this is a rather low number for Mark Fletcher in conjunction to what they do up front along the offensive line, how they run the football. Over 66.5 yards rushing. He's going to accomplish that. He might get that in the first half because he refuses to go down. So I like Mark Fletcher to crush this number.
I love Mark Fletcher. And Tom, I know you love Mark Fletcher because you hit a prop on him last week. And I believe, to Emory's point, it was like 11 or 12 yards higher. I think it was in that 77, 78 range, and he absolutely smashed it. But you're not looking to Mark Fletcher today. You're looking for the other running back.
Yeah, it was actually 88. So you're getting pretty good value on Fletcher here. Yeah, I'm going to go with Shamar Brown at 22.5. I gave this out on the Discord, SportsLine Discord at 19.5. It's getting up there a little bit. 23.5 is as high as I would go. He's got 20 plus yards in 5 of his last 7 games and 14 carries against Ole Miss. Now, I don't know if he's going to get 14 carries here, but you're looking for 7 or 8 carries to have a chance. He's had 7 carries 10 times this year. And the other reason I like this bet is because if it's a blowout in the second half, Fletcher already has 58 carries in the playoffs. I think Brown's going to be there in the fourth quarter if the game's kind of out of hand. So I think there's multiple ways we can get to 23 yards with Shamar Brown.